started last week talking about angelic rebellion. And now, I talked just a little while last week on when, and I'm not sure that makes a difference because there's no possible way we can know when this took place. But so we're going to say this. Somewhere out in the past, when everything that God had created was good, a rebellion took place. And it took place because of one angel who got it all started. His name is Lucifer. You may know him as Satan. You may know him by the accuser of the brethren. You may know him as the deceiver. You may know him as the father of lies. You may know him in his role of destruction and death. I stood by the bedside the last couple of days, as I said, of a very dear friend. And I saw the ravages of cancer as it's taken her life. And I just realized how very ugly that death is. But then we realized the source of death. You know, now here's something I want you to understand. Because so often God gets accused of things. God is not the author of death. God does not want anyone to die. It's not His will. But God allows it to happen because of sin. But Satan is the author of death. You would never see God doing something as horrible as death. And so Satan is the author of death. And so consequently, it is a terrible and ugly thing, and he rejoices in it. There is absolutely nothing good about Satan. We know he is very, very beautiful. Come on in, Betty Lou. You don't have to sneak. I'll see you.
You just couldn't keep from it, could you?
Good to see you, and I'm not going to let you get by these. I do that.
I had to wait till come and get to the cut.
I do that to my daughter. Why wouldn't I do it to you? We're in the 14th chapter of Isaiah. We're talking about the angelic rebellion. Our study is on angels, and this will be part of it. You know, Satan wants you to believe that he is this little guy in red underwear with the tail and the horns on his head and kind of a little cartoon character. Don't buy that. That's exactly what he wants you to believe. He is unbelievably beautiful. He is one of the most beautiful of God's creation. But he is also the most wicked of God's creation. And so at some time in the past, and we don't know when, we know it was after God had created angels. We know that. So we will start from there in verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nation? For thou hast said in thy heart. Now, I want you to look at 5 things that Satan says. I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Now, at some time, and we don't know when, Satan rebelled and decided that he wanted not to worship God or to be a servant to God, that he wanted to be God. Now the question, I guess we would ask is, why? Why did this happen? And I don't have an answer for that question. Maybe you do, or at least you have an opinion of what happened. Why did God allow Satan to do that? Why did God allow that?
So we have Satan here, so we have a choice.
Okay, by choice, what do you mean?
Whether we should serve God or serve Satan.
Okay, why do we need that?
So we won't be like zombies or you know, wind up toys or something. God wants us to love Him.
Right? I think what we have to realize is that God does not want you to love Him because you don't have any choice. I think that's what it really said. God wants you to make a conscious choice to love Him. And so the only way that He can do that is have a different, something you can choose. And so He allowed Satan to rebel, and the Bible tells us that 1/3 of the angels in heaven rebelled with Him. And so He decided He would make war in heaven. And so Satan and 1/3 of the angels, of the fallen angels, went to battle against God and His holy angels. Now, I want you to understand that this was the start of the war. I guess we could call it the war of the world. It began in heaven. It's going on right now. It has gone on ever since that happened. And it will continue to happen until the battle at Armageddon. And so as long as there is an earth and a people on earth, this battle will rage. What is it Satan wants? What does he want?
Control.
All right, he wants control. How does he go about getting it?
Manipulation.
Pardon?
Manipulation.
Okay.
Temptation.
He is the master manipulator.
Deception.
He is deceiver, the master deceiver. He is the master liar. He, you see, there is absolutely nothing good. Now, God does His work on earth. How? What instrument does God use to do His work on earth?
The Bible.
Right? He uses two things. He uses angels and He uses men. Right? That's how God, now when I say men, men's generic. All right? When we say that, men's generic, it means mankind. It doesn't mean just man, it means mankind. So God does His work on earth through angels and through men. And I have told you and will continue to tell you that God, everything God has, Satan has a counterfeit. So Satan does his work on earth through angels and through men. Now the difference is, God has holy angels and the church. Satan has fallen angels.
In the church.
Right? Oh, yeah, there's probably more truth to that than we want to admit. But he has sinful men. Now, how does Satan work through men? How does he get us to do what he wants us to do?
He makes it look good.
All right. You got all the answers tonight.
I didn't have to know what you're thinking on. Practice at home. No.
No, we actually didn't.
That's not from living with John, is it?
No.
Does that mean that all angels, evidently Satan had free will? He had the freedom to do what he wanted to do, or he couldn't have done it.
Okay, God allows, now here's what's hard for us to understand. Satan does not have a free will. God sets the boundaries for Satan. Remember Job? Remember Job? God said, okay, you can do this, but you can't go any further than this. And that's what He does with us. God sets boundaries. He allows Satan to tempt us. He allows Satan to mess with our lives and with our minds, but He only allows him to go so far.
Well, what I'm asking though, does all angels have that same capability? I mean,
To fall, right? And again,
you make that choice, if they want to be, better than God, or...
all right, now again, you're asking me a question that I don't know, because the Bible does specifically tell us. It only tells us that 1/3 of the angels make the choice to follow. Did all of them have the privilege to do that? I don't know.
Does each different kind of angel have a different set of rules or whatever you go by.
No, I believe that all of them are bound to God. The holy angels are bound to God. The fallen angels are bound with Satan now. But one time they were bound with God. And I think what I'm thinking is there a chance this might happen again? Anybody ever think of that?
Are you talking about a tea party or?
No, I'm talking about an angelic rebellion. Could it ever happen again? You see, we don't know. We don't know. But we do know that 1/3 of the angels fell. Now this is already taking place because Jude says that they are in chains in hell waiting for judgment. Part of it. But part of them are right here in the world doing their thing with Satan. Alright? Now, here's how Satan gets us to do what he wants us to do. He uses our senses. And what are our senses? Okay. You remember the first fall of man or of woman? How did it happen? Eyes. Right? He instilled doubt in her mind. All right? Didn't she touch it? Didn't she taste of it? Didn't she say that it looked good for food? He played on all of her senses. And that's what he does with you and me. He plays on our senses. He makes it look good. He makes it sound good. He makes us think that it's going to be really good. And then when we do it, you know what he does? He runs the tablets on you. The Bible says he's the accuser of the brethren. So he talks you into it. He plays on your senses. He manipulates you till you do it. And then he runs and tells God that you did it. There's nothing good about him at all. When I was a kid, we'd have beat him up on the school ground.
I mean, God help us then, and he's trying to trick us like that. I mean,
Could God keep him from doing it? Yeah, he could. But then we wouldn't have a free choice, you see. We have to have God says this, I set before you good and evil. Choose you this day who you will serve. And so all of us in our lifetime will make a choice whether we serve God or Satan. That's the only two choices you have. There's not a third. You either serve God or Satan. Now, you can try to do both, but it didn't work for you. You can't sit on the fence. You only have one Father. You either have a heavenly Father or you have an evil Father. All right? You either are a child of God or a child of Satan. It's as simple as that. Now, this war began in this battleground in the past somewhere. Now let's go over to Ephesians, and I want you to watch it as it continues. Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 2 says this. Wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. And so what is going on is Satan is still very much at work. Do you need any reason for me to kind of convince you of that? All you have to do is look around at our world. Does it really seem to you like God's will is being done on earth? Of course it's not being done. Look at the Philippines. Do you think that's God's will for those people? How could a loving God have a will? Did he allow it to happen? Yes, he did. What is his purpose? Number one, to try to get us to turn toward Him, to try to show us why we need Him. You know, in a really good world where nothing bad happens, you don't have much need for God. Those people of the Philippines right now need God.
I read at one time that after the 9/11 event, how the church attendance went up at a pretty good rate for so long.
Yeah.
It didn't last, but it brought us to think about it.
It has been proven many times that when we are in a war, our churches fill up. Our churches fill up. Because we have a concern for our husbands, for our sons, for those that we love that are going on to war. And so things happen. I'm going to read verse 3 of Ephesians, also in chapter 2, verse 3, about the children of disobedience, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past. Now, conversation does not always mean words spoken. Conversation in the Bible can mean your way of life. In the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. You remember last Sunday's message, I preached on 3 things. One of them was a higher nature and a lower nature. And one of them is your lower nature, where it tells us right here, by nature, you're the children of wrath. You see, by your very nature as a lost person, you're a child of Satan. All right? And it talks about the lust of our flesh, the desires of the flesh and of the mind. And so this is part of Satan's warfare, of where he hits us and where he tries to get us to be. Now let's go on over to Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 11. And it tells us about the warfare. And I told you the battle started at the fall of Satan, and when he waged war with God. Here's what I want you to understand. It goes on day and night. Day and night, and round the clock. It never ceases. Here's what we let's go to verse 11, chapter 6 of Ephesians. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. What's wiles? Tricks. Yeah. Cunning. Right? Now, once again, I want you to know something. He is terribly intelligent. And I say that because he is so much smarter than you are. He knows how to lay a snare for you. He knows how to lay a trap for you. He watches you. He knows what your weakness is. Now, I don't know when this thing happened with Adam and Eve. How long have they been in the garden? Have they been there, just been created? They've been there a month? Have they been there a year? Have they been there 10 years? Have they been there 10,000 years? Who knows? We have no way of knowing. John speaking. I believe that Satan watched Eve day and night. He watched her and he was waiting for the exact moment. He had one shot, that's all he had. And he could not waste it. And I wonder if he didn't watch her when maybe she'd come out. Now again, I'm saying John speaking, not on the Bible. If he didn't watch her when she come out and looked at that tree and wondered about that fruit, and what was so important about it, and how it would taste.
Do you think he tempts us like that today?
Of course I think he did.
What about the strawberry shortcake?
We're going to turn this into a personal matter here. Oh, now see, now we're talking about my sugar. Yeah. I don't recall. He does to us exactly what he did to her. He has time. And he knows you. He watches you. He knows you. He knows what your weakness is. And that's where he begins to play. That's where he begins to play on your mind with that weakness. And he does it through your senses. Every sin begins in the heart, which is actually the mind. All right? You think it, then you do it. I don't believe, you have a belief, John. I don't believe there's any way you can accidentally sin. Right? Because here's what the Bible says. He who knows to do right and does it not, to him it becomes sin. What does that mean? That means I didn't have any idea that was a sin. I just fell into it. No. It becomes a sin when you willfully, now listen, make up your mind to disobey God. When you willfully, you see, all sin goes back to Satan's 5 I wills. It goes back to I will. I will make my own decision. I will do what I want to do. I will be my own God. You see, this is what we've always desired, is to be our own God. What did it say there? God knows that the moment you eat of that, you'll be as He is. You'll be like a God, and you want to be like a God, and we still want to be a God. That's our sin. We want to be our own God. We don't need idols. We want to be our own God. Make our own decisions, do our own things, and that's how Satan works with us. And so he uses our senses. Affairs don't just, you don't fall into them. You look, you see, you desire, you begin to move a little closer to it, and the first thing you know, you're in an affair. The very person you're into sin.
But sometimes don't you think that you're not thinking about doing something? I mean, I do something and I say, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
why did I do it? I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot to think with.
Here's what he does. He convinces us it doesn't amount to anything, everybody does it, you know, he excuses it. And so we just do it, and then all of a sudden something happens, like you say, all of a sudden you say, oh my God, you knew it was wrong. You know, that's why you said, oh my God, you were convinced. But he laid that out so perfect that you never even thought about it.
You ever notice that sometimes we might have a temptation, but we kind of maybe not do it, but if somebody just give you the approval, you know, why not?
Yeah,
That makes it a little easier.
everybody does it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had, here's a good one. Have you ever had somebody lead you into talking about somebody? Have you ever had that
I've
happen?
heard your mother say, talk to get talk.
Yeah, they just kind of lead you into it. They start talking about them and they want your opinion. And the first thing you know, you're following right along. But you had no intention of doing that. But that's what I'm saying. You must be, all right, let's read verse 12 here for a moment, chapter 6 of Ephesians. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. And otherwise our enemy's not flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. What we say? Our battle is not against one another. Our battle is against Satan and this warfare that he started in heaven with his angels, and we're still fighting against him. And he is alive, and every day and night we are battling this battle. That's why he tells us to put on our whole armor. And so what I want to do is acquaint you with Satan, because if you don't know, and even when you know, you still need the Holy Spirit. Because you need a power stronger. Let me just say this to you. You need his power a lot stronger than yourself to fight Satan. But I'm going to tell you something. Your willpower doesn't amount to a thing. when you're battling Satan. I heard people say, I've got a strong willpower. No, you just haven't been hit hard yet. You see, you haven't come to that place where you're weakened, where see, He'll set you up. He'll set you up, and He'll put in your way your very weakness. You ever wonder why? I just saw in the paper the other day, this soccer mom, a Girl Scout leader, a Boy Scout head of the PTA, she stole the money. Yeah, she stole the money right there in Springfield. And she herself said, I just got carried away. Here's what happens. You've got a position where you're handling lots of money in the bank. You know, you're in charge of the money. And everything's on fire. And suddenly something happens and you desperately need money. Now, you're not going to steal it. All right. Well, Satan says, why don't you just borrow some of that money? You can pay it back. And you take 1,000. And you get by with it. And then something else comes up. And you need some more money. And now you take some more. I saw a couple of years ago, I think, in Springfield, at the court system there, a lady embezzled $1 million. Nobody missed it. How dumb can you be to not miss $1 million? Or how many million do you have that you'll miss one? I would immediately miss one.
The record, so the record's good job.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to get you to see is these are what we would call good people. They're soccer moms, they're wives, they're homemakers, they're involved in their kids' lives. But suddenly they're thieves. And they became thieves because Satan knew exactly where and when to get them. So we must be aware that this battle goes on day and night. And if you are not prepared and you don't understand how He's working, then you're going to get into very serious trouble. Now, we're going to leave that. If you have any questions, anything you want to add, you know that the battle is raging. All right? Now let's go over to the personal ministry of angels. And this is particularly important to us. I don't think I've really ever thought much about it, but most of you were in the church last year. And you've heard me say this, and I was talking to Mary Riley, and I said, I don't know what it was about, and I said, I really thought I was going to die last year. She said, John, so did we. I was at that point in my life. I could not walk from here to the wall without sitting down and gasping for air, using oxygen. And I just knew I was going to die. It was just a matter of time. But something happened. If I could get from my office to the pulpit, I could preach 30 minutes message with no problem. And I would walk out the door, and I couldn't hardly get back to my office. And when I was thinking about this something stronger than myself was going on in the world. Something was holding me physically up, mentally up, and spiritually up. And Julia's been listening to me preach for 30 years, and she's my worst critic. Or bad critic, kind of. Once in a while she'll say, why didn't you just phone that one in today? They're not all barn burners. But she said, you probably did some of the best preaching I've ever heard you do during that time. And so, God uses our weakness very often to confound the mind. He uses our weakness for His glory. And so, was it an angelic presence? I know. Was it the Holy Spirit that did it? But something gave me what I needed to do, what I needed to do. Hebrews chapter 1. Hebrews 1 and verse 13. But to which of the angels said he at any time, sit on my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool? And he's saying none. He didn't say that to any of them. All right, but he said it to Jesus. Then he says this, are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? Do I really need to explain that? Doesn't it say exactly what it says? All angels, are they not all ministers, all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation. I believe, again, I can't completely tell you, but I believe that we all have an angel who ministers to us. I believe he fights the battle between Satan and God. I believe he protects us. I believe he provides for us. I believe without him, Satan would kill us in a minute. I believe Satan would kill us in a second. Because again, I'm going to tell you, you don't have the intelligence, you don't have the power, you don't have the strength to do battle with him. And so I believe these ministering spirits, these angels, are fighting our battle and ministering to us every moment of every day. Now we're going to look at some of the things that we'll see in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, and some of the times when they minister. Now let's go back all the way to Genesis. All the way back to Genesis. Angels are throughout the Bible, the Old Testament, the New, and chapter 19. All right, are you Genesis chapter 19? I'll give you a moment. And there came two angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. All right, now who's Lot? Tell me who Lot is.
Abraham's nephew.
He's what?
Abraham's
nephew. How did he get in Sodom and Gomorrah? He chose it. Why? It looked better, didn't it? There came a time when he and Abraham and their shepherds were fighting over the grass and everything, and he said, we'll part. And he said, I'll give you the choice of which way you go. And it said he looked toward Sodom, and it was a well-watered plain. And he said, this is a good place to feed my animals, so I'm going to choose this. You see, now again, he looked, he saw, he chose. What was wrong with him choosing a well-watered plain? Okay, but it also was where Sodom and Gomorrah was. Now, when it means he's sitting in the gate, doesn't mean he was just sitting there while waiting time. The gate was where judgments were made. When people came and the judges of that city would sit there, and it'd be like a court of law today. And he had gotten to the point in Sodom to where he had become a judge sitting in the gate. All right? You see, it doesn't take long for sin to drag you in, does it? Now two angels appeared. And he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house and tarry all night. and wash your feet. You shall rise up early and go on your way. And they said, no, but we will abide in the street all night. He wanted to come in, wash your feet, get fed, and move on. Amen. And they said, no, we're going to stay in the street. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. Once again, angels eat. Right? If they want to. They don't have to. Okay? But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. He was not talking about so that we can introduce ourselves and find out what their name is. He was saying we want them in a sexual way. Remember what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay. And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters. See, this is what tells you. Which have not known men. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do you to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing. For therefore came they under the shadow of my brothers. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will need to be a judge. See, there it tells us that lots of judges. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. Now, I talked to you about protection. Now watch this. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. The angels just turned them blind. See, they had the power to do that. I don't know how they did it, but suddenly they were blind. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any beside son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we now, angels also bring warnings. They also bring judgment. We're going to look at that a little later. Especially when we get to Revelation, you're going to see the angels have a great part in judgment. Okay? For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. Now watch this carefully. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. What has taken place here? This man of God, for gain, has came into Sodom, and he has been there long enough that his children have lost any respect that they may have had for him, because they don't believe the word to say it. You see this? You see, we tell our children what's right, and that's good. But our children are more apt to do what they see us do. Don't tell me what to do, show me what to do. All right? And so they pay absolutely no attention. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife, and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. Let's go on now and see what's happened to this godly man. And while they lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. They had told him that they were going to destroy it, and everything in it, and he went and told his sons-in-laws and his daughters, and they didn't listen to him. but yet he had to be dragged out of the city. You see how deeply that a godly person can find themselves? You see where Satan can get to work on you? Now, angels are still doing good things. And it came to pass when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou on the plain, escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and die. He is bargaining. They drug him out of the city so they can destroy it, and now he's trying to strike up a bargain. And he said unto him, okay, let's go back now. Behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one, and my soul shall live? And so he said, no, I want to go to this city. I don't want you to just turn me. I want you to take me to this city. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot watch this carefully. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. Why did he have to have Lot, his 2 daughters, and his wife out of Sodom before he could destroy it?
He wanted to forsake it.
Even as low as Lot had come, God still saw him as righteous. And he could not destroy the righteous. Now this is what people say, oh, I hear about the tribulation and we'll go a third of the way through it or halfway through it. There is no condemnation to those who believe on the Lord Jesus Christ. That's what the Bible says. And so he must get them out before he can destroy it, even if he has to drag them. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone of fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him and she became a pillar of salt. Okay? Now, the sins of the fathers, if we're not careful, lead the children to enter again. Let's read this a little more. I think we need to. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld the load of smoke in the country went up as smoke was burning. And if you're wondering, archaeologists, geologists have never found one trace of Sodom and Gomorrah. And it came to pass when God destroyed the cities of the plain that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, where he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt. Now watch this. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him. For he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come into us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve the seed of our father. They had grown up in Sodom and Gomorrah. They had grown up in a filthy city, and incest does not seem at all out of place for God. And so, part of what I would like for you to get tonight, it may not have to do with angels, but it is one thing to tell your children what's right and what they need to do. It is altogether another to model it after. If it's good for them, it should be good for you.
You made two strawberry shakes and turned around
Can we put the strawberry shakes to rest? Let's go over to Genesis 32. I suppose I'm going to have to repent. Now, this has to do with Jacob. And Jacob is a cheat. Jacob is so hard, he's a cheat. You know, he cheated his brother out of his birthright. Now, he'd gone off and he had married, and you know the story. He married the ugly older daughter to get to the pretty younger one. I don't think of it in that wise anyway. He had 2 wives and he had children and lots of flock and everything. Now he's going back to his homeland where his twin brother Esau is, and he's getting very concerned about Esau is going to take him coming home. So now let's start to read. Jacob's on his way. Chapter 32. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. All right? Now once again, here's a man that's going to get into some serious trouble unless God sends him some help. And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's host." And that word host in this instance means this is God's army. How many of them do you reckon there was? I would say there was plenty to do the job that needed to be done. And so God sent angels. And Jacob sent messengers before him, Esau his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, "Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith this, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks, and men servants, and women servants, slaves. And I have sent to tell my lord that I may find grace in thy sight." And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee with 400 men." So you have to wonder, if Esau is in a good mood, what does he need with 400 men? So it looks like we're going to have a problem. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and herds and the camels, into 2 bands. He said, one direction and one another. In other words, if they attacked and killed all of these, he still had another over here. And so this is what he's doing. And said, "If Esau comes to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape." And Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which saith unto me, Return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee." He's going home because God told him to. Why is God rescuing this little cheat? Remember God promised Abraham, "I will make of thee people as the sand of the seashore," and if Jacob is killed, that ends the promise. Right? And Jacob said, "O God of my father," and so on, verse 10, "and I'm not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I've become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. And thou saidst, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude." That's why God's protecting him. "And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand, a present for Esau his brother, his trying to bribe him, 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, and so on and so forth. He delivered them unto the hand of his servants, drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, Pass over before me, and put a space between with which drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when he saw my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, whose art thou, whither goest thou, and whose are these before thee? And thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob. It is a present, said unto my Lord Esau, and behold, also is behind us. And so commanded he the second, the third, and all that followed the droves, saying, on this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when ye find him. And say ye moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us, for he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and after thou will see his face. Peradventure he will accept of me. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons, and passed over the Jordan. And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And we'll stop there in the middle of a wrestling match. Guess who he's wrestling with? It's either God or Jesus Christ. It could be either one. He wrestled all night long. That's a pretty good match with Jesus. All right. We'll pick it up where we left off. We're going to talk about the personal ministry, what they do with you. We're going to not only look in the Old Testament, but look in the New. Remember what God has done before. He will do it again. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. If he protected him in the Old Testament, he'll protect his people today. Anything on your heart before Janet gets to sleep? No, I'm with you. Just keep going. I am too. It's one of those days. Anything on your heart tonight? Greg, you want to dismiss it?
Upon the heavens, we know the presence again, Lord,